This is a PSA. For all of you artifact enjoyers, I have some really important news that you need to take into consideration for your artifacts. And it's essentially this: do not ever upgrade your support artifacts. And what I mean by upgrade is adding to them, enhancing them, giving them a +1, a +2, etc. Through the enhance artifact window here. Never, ever, ever do this for any of your support artifacts, whether that's Nick Fury or Agent Coulson, whatever his name is, Coulson. I don't know his first name. Whether it's Sin, whether it's M'Baku, whether it's, Ronin, any of them. Any of the support artifacts. Valkyrie, Agent Venom, don't do it. Don't do it. And here's why. I'm going to give you a really quick explanation of why. All right, so we have this team here with Miles Morales, Luna Snow, and M'Baku. And if you check M'Baku's artifact, it gives the following effects. All allies get 10% ignore dodge and 10% attack, and an additional 0.3 of total instinct. Okay, so let's keep that in mind, right? That's what they get. Now, if we take a look, if we switch off to this team, right, and we take a look at Luna, and we take a look at the details page, you can see that she has, 3% ignore dodge, right? So right under ignore defense, you have 3% ignore dodge. So by that calculation, right, if you were to add in M'Baku should make that 3 go up to 13, because 10 plus 3, and then an additional 0.3 of M'Baku's instinct, right? So you're like, oh, okay, what's M'Baku's instinct? Oh, wow, it's 914. That's really low. We're going to multiply that by 0.003, and we get 2.7%. So, okay, M'Baku gives 10 plus 2.7%. So, okay, so he gives 12.7%. So that should bring Luna's up to 15.7, or let's say 16%, right? She should have 15 or 16% ignore dodge with M'Baku on the team, depending on how much, depending on whether it rolls up, whatever it's called, rounds up, right? So we go over to Luna Snow and we go over to details page and we look at 24% ignore dodge. That's really weird. That's not what I said, right? I'm really bad at math, but I can't be this bad, right? We said it's going to be 16 or 15 or 16%, but it's 24. Okay, so what's going on here? What's going on is that the game is not calculating the artifact additional buff, the percent buff, the additional, whatever comes after the first percentage, right? And an additional 0.3 of total instinct. It's not calculating M'Baku's instinct. It's calculating whatever the character's instinct is. In this case, Luna Snow. This is very important because what I'm pretty sure happens is if you upgrade the artifact beyond the other character's artifact, then it ends up taking M'Baku's or whatever the support character's instinct is. And by and large, the support character's instinct is going to be much lower, right, in almost every situation, unless the support character is tier 4 for some reason and the non-support character is not tier 4, which would be super weird. But yeah, as long as your main damage dealer has more total instinct than your support character, you should never upgrade the artifact of a support character. You can upgrade Luna's artifact, right? But don't upgrade the support artifact. Again, Valkyrie's artifact, Ronin's artifact, and M'Baku's artifact, etc. You can see here she has almost 4,000 instinct, way higher than M'Baku. And so I wanted to test this out. So, okay, we figured this out, right? We figured that these artifacts are not, they're not calculating these effects based on the instinct of the actual support character. They're basing it on the instinct of the character that they're supporting. In this case, in this example, Luna Snow. So now we're going to do another example here. We're going to take Luna Snow off the team. We're just going to use Miles, all right? So in this first situation, in this first example, just to double check that we have the math all right, okay? So Miles has 28% ignore dodge. So 28% ignore dodge plus M'Baku's, his 15 or 16%, depending on the, whether it rounds up or not. This should go up to 42 or 43% ignore dodge, right? 42 or 43. Let's take a look here what it goes up to. It goes up to 41. Oh, that's super weird. Oh, okay, so this is a very easy way to explain exactly what happens, right? My Miles Morales is not tier 4. So as you can see here, this 41% is because his instinct is more or less the same as M'Baku's. And it may be that because of this, you can automatically see what's going on with the instinct. But I still wanted to make like for damn sure that it's about upgrading the artifacts. So I'm going to go through my tier 4s and I'm going to find one that has the lowest percentage, like the lowest plus on the artifact here. Okay, so here, perfect, Rogue. Here's a perfect example. So Rogue has no, like her artifact is +0, right? Her artifact is +0. So let's take a look here. Rogue naturally has 3% ignore dodge. So again, with M'Baku, it should be 15 or 16%. Let's go ahead and take a look. We put M'Baku on the team, and instead of 15 or 16, it's 23. So almost the exact same thing happens, right? Between Luna and Rogue, almost the exact same thing happens. But you're probably wondering, right? You're like, huh, there's a difference, Alex. There's actually a few percentage difference, because I'm pretty sure Luna was like 24 and change. So the reason for that difference, you can see right there, the 24 for Luna and the 23 and change for Rogue is because Rogue's artifact is +0, so it's not adding any additional. It's just adding the base 80 per 80 of order. But my Luna's is +9, I believe, or +10. So that's adding from 80. It's actually adding 310, which is whatever, a difference of 220, or something like 230, something like that, right? So because of that extra instinct, when you multiply that extra instinct by 0.003, you're gonna get that difference. But anyways, I just want to for sure, like I've already pretty much proven it, I think, but I want to make for damn sure. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, remember that she has 23.67. Now I'm going to upgrade M'Baku's artifact once. So there's one of two theories here. The first theory is that because Rogue has more instinct overall, the game is just automatically choosing, right, which instinct to use. This is a possibility, right? Depending on who has more instinct, the game will just choose, right? So the game applies this artifact effect to whoever's on the team, and then for each character, the amount of extra instinct buff they get, in this case in the form of ignore, dodge, and all attack, is just based on whoever has the highest instinct. But obviously, it's not based on whoever has the highest instinct and then applied to all of them. It just checks, right? Do you have more instinct than the character who's holding the artifact? If so, I'm just going to use your instinct to do this multiplier here, right? Because originally you would think it just multiplies based on M'Baku, right? As we talked about earlier in the video, but obviously it doesn't do that. But it checks, okay, Luna has more instinct. I'm going to use Luna's instinct to multiply to give Luna her buff. And then for Rogue, it checks Rogue has more instinct. It's going to multiply for Rogue and give her that one, right? But here's what I want to check, right? Is it just based on the instinct, in which case there's no way to get 3,000 plus instinct on M'Baku's artifact, or is it based on the artifact level? So let's take a look here. We're leveling up his artifact to +1. The only problem with doing this as a test is that from now on, whenever I use M'Baku as a support, I have to make sure, if this is right, that every other artifact for every other character that he buffs is at least +2. Anyways, we go back and check, and it's still 23. Okay, that's actually really good. So what this means, I didn't know ahead of time, and I didn't want to make this video after knowing this and then trying to explain everything, so I wanted to explain it step by step. Essentially, what that means is my earlier PSA where I was like, never, ever, ever upgrade your support artifacts. It's not 100% true. It's still true. It's still pretty much a good piece of advice to not upgrade support artifacts because it's not really having the effect that you think it's having, right? As we talked about earlier in the video, you'd think, oh, you know, whatever the support artifact is, whatever the support buff is, it's taking that additional instinct percentage based on the support character's instinct. It's obviously not doing that, right? Now, you could, if you wanted to, you could upgrade the support artifact in case, right, there's a situation where your tier 2 M'Baku is buffing a character with as much or less instinct as M'Baku, and you wanted to give them the biggest possible buff. But the problem here is this percentage only goes up, it doesn't go up very high, right? For a 4-star artifact at +20, it doesn't get very high. I mean, for a 6-star artifact at +20, it only goes up to 1,400, right? And this is only a 4-star. So even in the best case scenario, you can only give your character an extra like 1,350, 1,320 instinct, which is a very small amount, right? Versus when you tier 4 a character, their instinct jumps from like 600 to 3,500. Like it just, right? It's like triple what you could get from just getting a 6-star artifact to plus 20. And getting a 6-star artifact to plus 20 costs a lot of essence and a lot of gold. So again, not really a good idea for the vast majority of players. It basically almost never has a use case, although it's technically not. It's technically not. You're not bricking the character, or you're not bricking the support artifact by doing that. What I thought was going to happen, and what I'm sort of trying to explain in a roundabout way, is I thought that when M'Baku's artifact was at a higher plus level and a higher enhancement level than Rogue's, then I thought the game would automatically just switch to using his instinct over hers, and then she would lose a bunch of that buff. And I was expecting the ignore dodge to go down to 15 or 16, depending on whether it rounds up, right? Probably 16%, but it didn't, which means the game is still just calculating, hey, who has the, does this character have more instinct than the support character, right? That's all the game's calculating. Does the character that I'm supporting have more instinct than the support character? If so, just use their instinct when calculating the extra percentage, the extra stats that this support artifact is going to get. Now, this only applies to support artifacts, of course. This doesn't apply to any other passives or any other buffs that apply to all allies or certain allies, because none of those other buffs have this additional percentage. Now, it's worth saying that this could also be a bug that I'm unintentionally revealing to the devs. I have no idea. It's been in the game for a long time, but I wanted to share it with you guys so that you guys understood what's going on, so you have a better understanding of the game and this kind of thing. It doesn't have, like, it has a decent impact. You can see, like, the difference between 16 and 24% ignore dodge. In Luna's case, that's 8%, right? So she's getting an additional, like, 50% dodge pretty much from the buff because it's taking her instinct. I think in any event, it should be kept this way because it's already like this in the game, for one. And for two, it sort of makes sense and it encourages you to actually tier 4 more characters, right? So it's like, rather than, if the artifact buff always based itself on the instinct of the character that equipped the artifact, then you're like, man, now I have to get every support artifact to plus 20 to get the maximum value out of that artifact. Instead, the system we have, that would be like another version of the system if it only ever applied from the support character's instinct, right? But the system we have now, it's like, I don't need to worry about M'Baku. I don't need to worry about how enhanced his artifact is. I just need to get more tier 4 characters. And when I tier 4 a character, let's say I'm using M'Baku with Black Panther, right? So my Black Panther before, he only had like 900 instinct, but then I tier 4'd him, and now he's got 3,500 instinct. So now the buff he's getting from M'Baku's support artifact is even better. That makes kind of more sense in my mind, and it also, in my mind, prioritizes the right things for players, which is to get more tier 4 characters rather than, hey, you got the support artifact, now just go ahead and buff it to plus 20. Like, this is such a boring, dumb system, right? Compared to tier 4 and characters. It just makes no sense. So hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of this new information about support artifacts and whether it makes them more valuable in your opinion or less valuable or what. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.